Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. Welcome to Symbaroum. That's what we do on a Wednesday night. We play through the long-running Throne of Thorns campaign from Fria Ligan for Symbaroum. It's the big one. You can see it at the left of my thing. Look how far we have to go. Yeah, we're in part 2 of 6. The 6th part comes out later this year now. I've pre-ordered it because I'm a responsible campaign GM. But not a responsible consumer. So there we go. Lovely stuff. Let's see what we get up to with Witchhammer tonight. But before we do, and before we start bringing on players, and as I eye my cat to see if he manages to make it to the bed without pulling the bed down, let's see. Moment of high drama here on Telling Tales. Look at that big boy. Ooh. This is the most important part of the stream. So, you know. What are we doing? Go on, get in. Okay, there we go. Before we start bringing on players and stuff, let's start doing some promo. If you check down below the video, you'll see a number of links. There's a link to Twitch and a link to YouTube. We stream on Twitch, and all of our videos then go to YouTube. That is until Twitch decides randomly that that's what people who stream on its service can't do. Topical humor. And there's a bunch of other links on there as well. There's Discord and Patreon and social media. If any of those things are of interest to you, please do check them out. We run 2 weekly campaigns at the moment. I'm talking rubbish. We run 3 weekly campaigns at the moment because the other one starts tomorrow. But Mondays is Vason with Johnny and the Monday crew. Today is Symbaroum with myself and this crew, obviously. Tomorrow, we are starting our final arc of the Cincinnati Chronicles. It's our World of Darkness crossover extravaganza. We ran most of it last year with 5 different story arcs. This is the final one starting tomorrow. It will make almost no sense to you if you haven't watched the others. So I guess you have 24 hours now to consume quick mental calculation, about 40 hours of content. So good luck with that, I guess. Or you can, come to it later with YouTube. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Cincinnati Chronicles returns tomorrow. We also run one-shots, kind of individual system one-shot stories. We run 1 or 2 of those every month. The next one is on the 25th of June, and that will be myself running Exalted Funeral's new whimsical Muppets meets Lords of the Rings. There are multiple Lords of the Rings, as everyone knows. That was you have to be a real nerd and fan to know that detail. Anyway, it's called Land of Eam. We're running it. It's fun. It's probably the most wholesome thing I have run on the channel and maybe will ever run on the channel. And really looking forward to it. It's like a preview beta PDF thing, so it's not even out yet. So if you want to have a preview of Land of Eam, I know what you should be doing on the 25th of June, and that's watching us play a one-shot. Okay, let's start introducing people. And first up this week is John. John plays Sir Arindar, last surviving noble of House Dar, I think it's fair to say, slightly naive and idealistic young man, but handy with the old fencing and handy with the cat owning as well. Hi, John.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. So why don't you tell us a bit of a meta update about what's the Witchhammer all about? What's going on?
So basically, the players have found themselves in Corvosti because of reasons. As a result of that, are on the trail of a treasure hunter called Elmendra, who has gone missing and also has maybe found the lost city of Symbar. So we have decided to follow her, partly for altruistic, partly for non-altruistic purposes. It's left us on a merry adventure around the whole of Davakar, and we are now in a ruined Symbaric palace called Faramurun, which has not an awful lot of loot because we were not the first ones here, but does have a band of treasure hunters that we are working with, called Digesto and his men. A lot of fell beasts that tried to kill us, some elves that threatened to kill us, but also gave us a warning to not go talk to the creature that's singing in the palace. There's the creature that's singing in the palace, and hiding out in sort of the west of the east of the building. And there is now a band of Queen's Rangers who have told us that we should probably leave because they're Queen's Rangers.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I definitely object to the use of the term merry adventure with what's happened. Because if this is your idea of a merry adventure, I worry for your anecdotes of the gleeful times of your youth, John.
Look, Aaron's there. He's got his cats. He's got his closest friends that are probably still alive.
This would be the cat that was nearly stabbed to death 2 weeks ago, right?
By one of those merry friends, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
okay, yeah. You're right. It's very merry. So there we go. That's roughly where the story's going for now. I'll bring everyone else on, and then I'll do just a little update of what happened last week, and then we're good to go. So next up is Chris. It's Chris. Chris plays Steo, former infantryman and city guard turned sellsword and adventurer, the kind of curmudgeonly dad of the group. I think it's fair to say. Also a little toddler-like, so he's got that. But he is elderly, right? So there's that lovely dimension going for it. How are you, Chris? How is Steo?
I'm doing fine. Much like Steo, I'm also getting old, and therefore various internal organs are hurting at random. Pretty much basically a D4 roll in the morning, and Steo's doing okay.
Doing fine. Everyone's just fine.
Everyone's just fine. It's grand.
Why would they not be? Certainly nothing terrifying. So let's bring on our next player. Our next player is Stephen. Stephen plays Elindra, former novice Templar turned adventurer with a quick sword arm, a slightly quick temper, and also a hidden mysterious past that we're not trying to talk about at the moment.
Don't mention the hidden mysterious past. It's supposed to be hidden and mysterious.
Hidden and mysterious, yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. It was actually prompted by someone, and I will give them a shout out, posting a YouTube comment this week. Jonathan Holberg saying basically saying like should Elindra be able to use Revenant Strike with her weapon unless someone's performed Desecrating Rite on the weapon and turned it into an unholy object? And it's like, well,
yep.
TBC.
Yeah, that is absolutely what the rulebook says, and that must mean that the sword became desecrated at some point in the past.
And if that's the case, then Elindra doesn't know about it. But then Elindra doesn't know, for example, how she can do Revenant Strike or which site. So
it's just the sword that goes flamey sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all fine and it'll be fine. And don't think too much about that undead lord it drained the soul out of a while back. Yeah, it'll be good. So let's bring on our final player for tonight. Let's bring on Sam. Sam plays Ascarai, loyal changeling scout, ranger, tracker, who only occasionally stabs members of the party and members of the party's close, beloved companions.
I was going to say, I think at this point it's quite generous to describe Ascarai as loyal. You know, at the beginning of his introduction, it's somewhat under question at the moment.
Yeah, I think like is it Stephen? Is it Elindra who explicitly has been like, I wonder if this guy's loyal anymore?
Yeah, it's not so much that she distrusts Ascarai or his motivations, but like he really had a day, and yeah, so I think Elindra's like trying to understand.
Yeah. I mean, he might not be, in the pay of someone else. He might just be sorcerously compromised or something.
Yeah, mind controlled by a singing monster or in league with the elves. Who knows?
Any of these things. This may well be our group for tonight, folks. We don't have a mic for now. Sadly, there's a possibility. No promises. There's a possibility we will gain a mic later, but we'll have to see about that. So there we go. All right. With that in mind, let's get into it. So if I bring up the old, it would have helped if I'd shared this beforehand, really. But if I bring up the old map of Symbaroum that we've been using, there we go. So basically, where we went last week, we ended the previous week with Askarai's cat stabbing. And then last week, basically, what happened was that the group decided to scout around the east edge of Symbaroum a bit. And then upon seeing the entrance in the southeast there, in the middle of the sort of marsh, I've described it as a swamp. It's more like a fen or marshland, I suppose. But you waded through that and decided to take the southern approach into Symbaroum. It has to be said, probably didn't really discover that much. You snuck past a large serpentine canaran. You managed to not fall down a sinkhole, not for lack of trying. And then as you started working your way to the west, and this is after quite a lot of debate amongst the group, the singing started again from somewhere nearby, and you decided that discretion is the better part of valor. You exited from the ruin, although along the way you did a little bit of extra exploration near the entrance, which again led to someone nearly getting horribly damaged in a sinkhole, but also led to the only two actual finds of things of value from the ruin that you've had so far. Arindar found a kind of broken sword that doesn't really seem like it would be an artifact, but maybe worth something, as it's obviously of Symbaroum make. And I believe Askarai, as a reward for all his loyalty and competence, has found it's a gold box with a prism inside it, right?
Yeah.
Glass prism inside it, yeah. Which you had a feeling about, and we're going to ask Father Anton to take a look at tonight. So over to you, Mike. There we go. So that was good. That was good. So where we're going to pick up is you've retreated from the ruin. You've walked north to just past the tree line where your camp is, against the kind of small river or stream that runs south, kind of through Symbaroum. And yeah, everyone is kind of like starting to get the camp ready for the evening, setting watches, setting a small campfire, doing cooking, things like that. Why don't we, because we haven't done this in a while really, why don't we go round the group one by one, and I'll do a little random thing for it. And we'll take a look at what everyone's doing, right? What kind of activity they want. Although Chris looks like he wants to jump the queue there.
Yeah, sorry, I want to delay your plan slightly, because on our way back from Symbaroum, I'm going to have a quick chat with Askarai, if that's okay.
Is this quick chat involve like ramming him against a tree and giving him good?
No. Just a quiet word, and I'm going to say, sure. Askarai, would you kindly spread the word, in the interest of avoiding any further trouble with the Rangers? When we get back to camp, let's make to leave. We walk around the ruin, and we take a short sojourn into the forest and pick a new camp that we have not been at, because I know we've been scouted at this one.
Are we still camping with the guests and?
Oh yeah, tell them as well. But just let's make it look like we are leaving, as in leaving, but let's actually leave about a mile that way.
Okay.
Which direction is that way, out of interest, Theo?
Southwest.
Like where you came from, more or less.
Yeah, kind of where we came from, but then off the path a bit, and then kind of finding a nice hidden hollow.
As if there's a path.
As if there's any way to not be hidden in the jungle, yeah. But sure.
That's great. Will kind of quietly help to spread this idea around to the rest of the group.
DeGesto seems amenable when you mention it to him. He just kind of shrugs and goes, "All right." No difference to me. And kind of he and his two fortune hunters start picking up their gear.
Pack up.
I suspect it's going to take more than this to fool the Rangers.
Yeah, but a little bit is better than nothing.
Okay. So long as we're not concerned that if and when they find out that we have attempted to mislead them, that they're not too upset about that.
Pretty certain the next time we meet, they're going to be trying to kill us either way. So I think in Davokar, safety is always the first priority.
Okay.
I mean, you haven't actually had an encounter with them other than Anton talking to Lindra, right? So.
I think he had informed us, had he not, that the Rangers
he told
had warned us off.
Yeah,
we saw other campfires nearby to the northeast.
And we know, well, I now know that DeGasto is pretty spicy towards Rangers, so
trying to put some distance.
Did Anton ever mention the fact about like DeGasto having killed Rangers, or they think he killed Rangers?
Yeah. I think so.
I don't remember him saying that.
Oh, maybe he didn't then.
Well, we do know for a fact that DeGasto was keen on a surprise attack, and I think that's enough for me to want. Well, I just don't. There's too many players on the board, and I want to try and give us a better chance of not being ambushed tonight.
It'd definitely be good to keep everyone separate if we can. And also moving camp. There's other people out here. It helps to not be found by anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, you can pack up camp. It doesn't take too long, and retreat around the western wall of the ruin. You know, stride. Did you say a mile or so?
A bit deeper into the forest, maybe a mile's probably, especially in now we're in the gloaming. A mile's a lot, so maybe well out of sight.
Sure. Maybe kind of like half a kilometer or so, perhaps out into the forest. Who is the person picking the new campsite?
I think it was my idea, so unless Ascarai wants to...
Sure. Well, then why don't you give me a cunning roll?
Could be worse. Well, that is a fail.
Okay. You identify a kind of glade that you walk into as a kind of good spot for having kind of relatively good line of sight around. For what it's worth, Ascarai, you don't really see what Steo's thinking is on this one, but it doesn't seem terrible either. So, yeah.
Okay, it's a different. It's a new place that has its own value.
Yeah. And without much more fuss, a camp is set up once again. Okay, let's go around one by one, starting with Arendar. Is there anyone you want to talk to? Anything you want to do? It's fine to say no. It's just
I don't think I do, to be honest. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. At some point, I would like actually Father Anton to look at this sword hilt and tell me whether it's horribly cursed. But other than that,
yeah. But I mean, do you want to get to him first then?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I don't really want to do Mike, I don't really want to have a conversation on behalf of Mike, but Father Anton is more than happy to take a look at what you found and see what he thinks of it. I just realized I might not have. I don't have Father Anton's. See, I asked Mike for his latest character sheet, and he was like, "Oh, it's just the same as the old one, only resolutes at 15." And I knew there was a reason why I asked him. It's because I just don't have it at all. So that's fun. Let me do a quick search because I need to find out what his cunning score is. Okay, I got it. Calm yourselves. It's all fine. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Father Anton takes a look at this sword hilt. Father
Good
Anton
old Father Anton.
takes a look at the sword hilt. And after kind of sitting with it for a while, kind of examining it, clearly kind of meditating and praying on it, he gains a somewhat troubled look on his face, and kind of passes it back to you, and says, I'm not sure, Aaron, but it certainly gives me some kind of sense of dread. I do not know if I would bring that out from the forest with me.
Thank you, Father. I will figure out what's best to do with it then.
Like someone, yeah, 42 says in chat. Oh no, it was 40. It's Steve. I've got Mike's rolling down. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, who are we going to next? We are going to Steo. I mean, your switching the camp might have been your thing, but is there anything else you would like to do, Chris?
I might have another little heart-to-heart with Ascarai and just basically just kind of go, you're still on side, mate. You've done more damage to us than the palace has today.
I'm still on side. I just had a terrible day. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think the snake was one thing. The wolf, I don't know what happened with the wolves. They're just lost track of where they were somehow. I don't know. I'm feeling terrible. I feel like Anton was probably forgiven me, but Arendar and Farron, I don't know. Probably not. Justifiably. What? I don't know what to do.
Like we always used to say in the military, don't kill your friend's cat.
I like that Steo is having this conversation with Ascarai, because Steo has, of course, in the past been shot in the back by Ascarai with an arrow in a basement in Thistlehold. So it's a nice fit. All right then. Let's go to Ascarai. I'm guessing I know where you're going.
I think Ascarai is definitely going to want his thing like that. While he's eating dinner, Ascarai is going to be generally quite salty, but is going to throw some scraps of whatever he's eating over to Farron, meat or whatever it is we have.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards he's going to go and ask Father Anton to please take a look at this box with a kind of prism in it. I think it's
glass prism inside it. Yeah. And it is loose in it. It is like on a little pillow, essentially. Presumably as if it's of some value, but it does just seem to be a glass prism to you. Father Anton gladly takes this as well, looking a bit trepidatious at, this thing could also be some kind of doomed curse of Davakar, and is going to spend some time with it, kind of looking over it in the light from the campfire, and says that he's sorry, he just doesn't know.
Okay. Well, thank you for trying, Father. I guess I'll figure it out as we go.
Like, certainly if you got back to Thistlehold, you imagine Ganderald would probably take a look at it for you, or you could, if not him, you could probably pay. You can typically pay someone at the Ordo Magica to do these things for you, or it may even be possible if you want to go through the agency. Asterisk, they tend to ask for things like finder's fees. Then someone might be able to take a look at it for you.
Or a witch, Carvosti.
Yeah, or a witch on Carvosti. And they've been terribly forthcoming in Witchhammer so far, not at all hiding in their house. I
find a thing that probably should wait until after everyone's done their thing. Asgray would want to talk about a plan for the following day.
I think everyone is yearning for that. But before we get to that, Stephen, is there anything Elindra wants to do?
Yeah, it's a few things. So firstly, once they've established the camp and hopefully while there is still light, she is going to circle round the place, establish a perimeter, perhaps even kind of over a few laps, kind of spiraling out into the forest just to get a sense of where we are and what's surrounding us.
Sure. Well, why don't you give me a vigilant roll for that at -2, because it isn't dark, but it is darkening for sure.
Oh, past that one.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot around here that you can tell. You can't hear or see anything untoward for Davokar. As you widen out, you sort of can hear kind of the well, actually not here. You can sort of smell the slightly fetid air of the fen kind of drifting across from where it is, but like it must be kind of like a couple of 100 meters away from where you are even then. So it's, you know, yeah, you don't see or hear anything untoward for certain.
Okay, so have it,
and the singing probably ends as you sort of finish your circling.
So having got the lay of the land, she will also want to just establish about keeping watch tonight, suggesting that because we're in a new part of the forest, we do that in pairs. Assuming that that's all been organized.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and if she can swing it, I think she would see if she could swing it so that she could take watch at the same time as Ascarai.
Sure. I don't see that as a problem unless
not because she has anything like planned for Ascarai, but just in case he has something planned.
Well, you know what? How about we see if Ascarai notices this? Ascarai, what's your discreet, Elindra?
It's a 9.
Okay, Ascarai, can you give me a cunning roll at -1, please?
Okay. My cunning is 10, so I need an 11. Oh wait, no.
9.
-1.
Oh,
9.
hang on. Sorry, Elindra, did you say your discreet was 9?
Discreet is 9.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Ascarai, sorry, it's cunning at +1.
Okay, need 11. That's a 1.
Elindra is not subtle. Yeah, it is very, very apparent to you that Elindra wants to be on watch with you. Well, Elindra, given that it was a 1, why don't you tell us exactly how you arrange this?
Yeah, just badly, really. Like, I think she would try to kind of take charge of the watch rota, essentially. So she will be the one that will try to kind of pair names up, and like, I guess if anybody like queries the pairing choices, she'll just be kind of argumentative about that.
Sure. And the way, let's say, Ascarai, the way in which she says the name Ascarai gives you a very significant impression that Elindra doesn't trust you right now at all. So, you know, given what Steo said earlier as well,
Yep.
You know, might be time to slit a throat in the sleep. Prove her wrong.
Yeah. Mistrust me.
Ascarai prepares for a fight to the death on watch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, before everybody sort of settles down for the night, and before she has to get up to go on watch, she's going to dry her boots and like any kind of other damp underclothes around the fire.
Well remembered, and the only person so far to remember, but I'm assuming that once everyone sees Elindra take her boots off and put them on a stick by the fire, they're going to do something similar, right?
I mean, I think the wet, squelchy feeling in his boots would probably remind Arundar before John remembered, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, she made a mental note to do that as soon as they stepped into the swamp. She was like, this needs to be sorted before I go to sleep tonight.
And in the frankly exciting smell of 10 pairs of boots, 9 pairs of boots, I think, drying next to a campfire. Why don't we kick off that conversation about what's happening tomorrow, folks?
Right. So while we're down here, I say we make for that gap in the wall on the south side. Take a look at the west wing.
Okay. I had a completely different idea,
Okay.
which is admittedly made slightly more difficult by the fact that we've chosen to camp here rather than to the north. Brother Bartho told us that Elmendra had awoken something in her search here, but that she had also found what she came looking for. I assume that the something is the thing that sings. If she was looking for the way to open the door and she awoke this thing, perhaps this thing is near where she was looking. If we need to be quick about this, which I think we do, we've got the Queen's Rangers on our backs. We've only got so many rations. There are goodness knows however many other treasure hunters coming up behind us from the south. Maybe we need to specifically look in the area where those noises are coming from.
The one thing that is guaranteed to cause trouble is any kind of confrontation with that singing spectre.
But if the thing that we're looking for is there, spending another 3, 4, 5 days searching the rest of Fria Maroon, which is how long it could take, will not do us any good if that's where we have to be. And I can't think of a better clue as to where this thing might be that Elmendra was looking for than somewhere around that creature. We don't know how much it moves in amongst the ruins, but when we've heard it consistently in the same place. So it doesn't seem to move that much.
I'm inclined to agree with Elmendra. I think we're avoiding the place we all know is the most likely to find what we're looking for out of fear of this creature, which, I mean, it's not that we shouldn't be afraid of it.
It's a very well-founded fear.
But I think equally we're spending days, we've lost someone today. How beaten and bruised are we going to be if we explore the whole of Fria Maroon and then have to go and fight this creature, or get past this creature, or fight the trolls, or whatever it is that's over there that we're going to have to get past. Oh, the
trolls!
I think
we're marching into a trap. I don't want to agree with you, Elendra, but I can't fault your logic.
I'm not suggesting this thing lightly. This is not a, let's go in and have a great big fight. I'm terrified. But if that's where the thing is that we came for, that's where we need to go.
Well, okay, so how about a compromise position then? We go in via the breach we know we've seen on the south wall, and we make directly for the east. That way we're not traipsing through forest that we know contains unfriendly elements. We're only traipsing through the forbidden, cursed palace that definitely contains unfriendly
elements. Look who
elements.
We've got.
Evening, everyone. Apologies for late.
Look who's come rolling in. Already, Mike, you just arrived on stream. I want you to know that Anton has failed 2 rolls already.
Hey, that means it's not just me. I feel a whole lot better about the situation.
You shouldn't.
It's not just that you're cursed, it's that Anton is cursed and you're cursed.
The worrying implication there is that there is no God. Like there is like doesn't work.
Ooh. This just got real deep real quick.
All the bad luck can move from a fictional character to you. It's all going a bit in the mouth of madness. Sorry, we are mid-conversation, so just to catch Mike up. What has happened is we've left Symbaroum, decided to change campsites, so you've moved to the southwest of the ruin, because you didn't want the rangers to spring anything on you in the night, essentially. Anton has looked at both of the things recovered from the ruin. He told Arendar that the largely inoffensive sword hilt he found seemed cursed, and said that he couldn't figure out what the prison that Askarai found does. And now there's a conversation happening, largely the thrust of which from Elindra, but other people are kind of agreeing, is the idea is all you know about this place before you got here is that Elmendra came here looking for something, and had to flee when she set something loose. There's also something nasty in there that the elves warned you against, which is whatever it is that's singing. Elindra basically said, and correct me if I'm wrong in my paraphrasing, Stephen, those are probably the same thing.
Yeah. And,
it's likely that what Elmendra was after is near the thing that's singing.
Yeah, that's the working theory.
So that's sort of the plan. And what Steo had just proposed, saying kind of a compromise, go into the ruin from the south and try and just get towards where the singing is coming from through that approach. Presumably that room on the east with the northern door there that you haven't gone through, Steo. Would you say that's probably is that the idea?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at from 1,000 foot in the air.
I'll stop recapping mid-session. Take it away, folks.
So, which entrance are we talking specifically? The east, the one to the northeast, or the one to the southeast?
Southwest.
Sorry,
the
northwest,
one,
southwest. Yeah.
Yeah, because definitely the southwest, because we don't want to walk back around. It's the closest one, if I remember correctly. There's a wall down there that's gone, and we can just get over it.
If we go into the southwest and head in a direction that takes us back towards that east side, that path is going to take us through the center of Symbaroum, which would be my second guess about where this thing is most likely to be. So if we can do that quickly, that might be the best way.
Oh, so not going in through that flooded room you've already been in, then just going straight in the nearest entrance and just striking towards.
Going into the southwest, and just wherever there are decisions to be made about directions to take, we will always try to head in a kind of north, sort of east-northeast kind of direction.
So covering a bunch of ground, but also heading
towards that bit that we've already discovered.
An arrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good to me, Steo.
For his part, DeGesto lets you have the conversation and just kind of after you seem, at least Steo and Elindra seem to have agreed. We're not counting the opinions of Aaron and Askarai and Anton, who haven't spoken. Well, Askarai spoke a little on it. DeGesto grunts and nods and says, "Good. I'm glad. You put into words better than I could what I was trying to express earlier today. The quicker I know, it may mean blood. The quicker we strike at whatever that thing is, even if it's not near what this mysterious treasure hunter was after, it makes the ruins safer to explore at our leisure. I'm all for it. All for it.
I would still rather go past it than through it, if that's a possibility.
If that's an option, I'll take it. I'm not going to risk my neck if I don't have to.
So I feel this is somewhat self-sabotaging, but the Gesto, I did let slip about the elves to the Gesto, and he was quite annoyed about that at the time.
Yeah, he said he talked to you about that later, and he hasn't brought it up yet.
I'm not going to bring it up, just making sure you haven't forgotten.
Matt won't have forgotten. Elindra's going to look around to the others and just see what other people seem to be thinking.
I think I'm still not sure about confronting this singing creature. But either way, I think starting at the opposite side of the ruins and working our way across, I think that's a good plan.
I think I would be okay with that plan. I'm also okay with this, like, going back into the kind of northeastern-most entrance and striking south from there. Or north from the flooded entrance.
It might be faster to walk around and go into one of those entrances, but it's also quite a lot more obvious. There was a camp somewhere out to the northeast. I assume it was, I think we all assumed it was the Queen's Rangers. It would be great to be gone before we have to encounter them again.
Do we
Agreed.
need to go back over our previous steps, though, to collect ropes? They seem to be getting some use, and we've left some secured, which we haven't gone back to retrieve.
I think the only one that isn't secured, that hasn't been returned now, correct me if I'm wrong, is the one around where Ascarai was originally bitten by a snake, right? That big rubble fall to the northwest of where the singing noise is coming from.
Over the locked door to the west.
I think so.
Over the locked door to the west of that, you mean?
No, I thought that had been recovered, but I could be wrong.
I don't remember us explicitly recovering any of the ropes that we've fixed in place yet.
I remember us recovering the two near the entrance as we went, because we decided that was a dead end.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you are right that it's the door, Stephen. Not
so I think there's one over the door before that rubble pile, and I thought we may have taken it. We can retcon it, I guess, if we want to have done. But like in the very northeast,
yes,
around the sinkhole.
Around the sinkhole.
Yes. That is still there. Yes, you've got 2 ropes and 2 are still secured. Yeah. Yep.
I would like to get those ropes back if we can.
I would say that the one by the sinkhole, at least, it's right next to, one of the easiest routes out from wherever the singer is. I think it might be safest to leave that one there in case we need a quick exit.
Yeah, and the rope over the locked door is probably the easiest way from this side of the complex into the area we're trying to get to. We could go to the south.
Travel around the rubble, perhaps.
I'm more interested in getting this done quickly and quietly and hopefully collecting all of our ropes than I am in making a plan for the ropes to the detriment of speed or quietness.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, as long as we're careful about the 2 remaining ropes that we have.
Yeah. We know that we can get back down south to the river and back to Carvosti without needing so many ropes, so long as we don't take any more detours. There's no cliff faces or things that we need to climb between here and there.
Unless the guards at the temple are charging a rope toll.
So I'm hearing a lot of talk about our different options and not a lot of settling on which door we're going through.
We're going in the southwest.
We're going in the southwest.
From
right.
there, we're going to head to the area of the temple that we know.
All right. All right. And then if we need to flee,
Well, we know at least 4 exits now, don't we?
Yeah, whatever's closest.
all right. And when we reach this singing thing, exactly what information do we have about it, Steo?
Don't go near it. Don't try and kill it.
How is it that you are on conversational terms with this elf?
Didn't you find it a bit suspicious that we were in a room with 20 elves and we all got out alive? Maybe I'm owed a favor or two.
Would have been handy to know beforehand.
Would have been handy to know there were elves here beforehand. I think you know me well enough to guess, though, I'd rather have no elves and no rangers and no singing monstrosity either, and just go for a nice tour around the building. But Davokar does not give us that luxury.
I tried to simplify the hand we've been dealt by dealing with the Rangers, but no one was interested in that. Still,
Yeah,
I'm comfortable with this for tomorrow. I'm comfortable.
Do you think we could get the Rangers to help us with the singing creature?
Well, what do you mean by getting them to help?
Well, they want to get into the ruin as well, don't they? Presumably, based on the 2 bodies that we found in the northeast corner. Maybe.
I'm a strong proponent of avoiding getting the filth involved, if we can.
Said the former town guard.
Look, we've
What
had some
point?
good.
What is the point of us coming here if we're just going to lead the Queen's Rangers directly to what we're doing? If all we were going to do is wait until it's public knowledge, why did we come here first?
What's the point in coming all the way here if we're just going to be killed by something in the ruins?
Speaking of
Whatever
being
it
killed by
is, it's bad enough that the elves are scared of it.
Elves are scared of everything.
we know that there's trolls in there as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't the troll tracks leading towards the southwest? And we're proposing going into this.
They were leading into the area in the east that we haven't explored yet, where the noise has been coming from.
Okay.
So we think there is.
They were being called there by the singing thing.
Well, I don't know, but the singing one is there. The trolls are there. Probably. I very much hope that the elves and the Queen's Rangers are not there. Like, of all of these things, my preference would be to encounter as few of them as possible. But
look,
we don't get to call the shots here.
Look, I understand you're young. You don't know the way the world works yet. I promise you, if we worked on this with those Rangers, we'd wake up to find our throats slit.
I don't want to work with the Rangers, and I don't want to kill the Rangers. I want to leave the Rangers alone.
DeGesto is not talking to you. DeGesto is talking to Arendar.
Okay.
Not working with no Rangers. That's final. He's kind of staring into the fire and kind of thrusting a long stick into it to keep it stoked.
All right. What if there was a way to get them to help without
Aaron,
directly
you're complicating things.
Probably.
I think the best way to deal with the Rangers is to be out of here before we have to deal with them again.
Seconded.
That's it. That's why I'm proposing prioritizing that part of the complex, because it's the place that gives us the best chance of being out of here quickly.
Okay, it sounds like a plan.
Okay. I am going to do a little roll for something. Don't mind me. Okay, so that's that. Which means, okay, yeah. Oh no, that doesn't work. That does though. Yes. Okay. So the middle of the night watch is taken by Elindra and Askarai, because that's what Elindra has arranged. It would be remiss of me to not ask if you wanted to. Is there any interaction you want to do in this, or any action in particular that you want?
Yeah,
to...
I'm gonna kill him in the dark. No, I'm not gonna do that.
You're gonna try.
No, like so I don't think Elindra's going to be like unfriendly. I just don't think she wanted to be asleep while he was awake tonight. She's going to be keeping one eye on the forest and one eye on where Askarai is in his part of the watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Askarai will talk to Elindra, I think.
Okay.
I noticed you seem very keen on having the same watch tonight.
Yep.
I get it. I mean, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I might do the same in your position, but
I've seen some of the things that the forest can do to people. I've seen some of the ways that that people can get mixed up, or people can fall under the influence of who knows what. I'm not saying that's what's happened, but you have to admit you had a really unusual day today. And I would hope that if I had had a day as bad as yours, that you would be watching me as well. Because that's how we keep each other safe, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, I think you're valid to be cautious after a day like this. I'm
not accusing you of anything. I'm not suspecting you of anything. I'm being careful. That's what I'm doing.
It's fair. I just want you to know that this was not, as far as I can know these things, I'm of sound mind. I'm not influenced by anything in the forest. I have no goals outside of what our party's goals are, and frankly, the people I've accidentally hurt today are probably the people in the world I would least wish to do that to.
I know.
Someone pointed out in our private chat, and also me, yeah, this is definitely the scene where the shipping would start if this was a TV show. So, you know.
Oh my god, they were watchmates.
Just watchmates being pals.
It's not that kind of stream, people.
yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so we are at the last watch of the night, and the people on watch are Steo and Leriol, who is the fortune hunter who first recognized you as being the heroes of the sinkhole. Steo, is there anything in particular you're doing while on this final watch of the night?
No, I think I'm being pretty. I suppose if it's with Lariol, this is the girl, isn't it? The one who's the one survivor at this stage. I'll try and give her a pep talk.
There's two, but yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. There's also Jorigoy, who's a young man who's looking increasingly nervous.
Yeah, I'll try and give Lariol a bit of a pep talk.
Absolutely. Why don't you give us a persuasive roll? And you know what? You can take a plus. What can you take for being one of the heroes of the sinkhole? You can take a +2. You're on mute, friend. Still on mute. Oh my god.
That's for anybody who's listening but not watching. What did
Yeah.
you roll? What did you roll, Chris?
I rolled a 20 and I'm not
Roll it.
spending XP on it because it's delightful.
Okay. What kind of pep talk are you giving Lariel, Chris?
Oh, Lariel, don't you worry. I've seen worse. I've seen spider demons the size of a house infect us all with a secret plague to wend off the cold. I've seen whole towns disappear into. I've been trapped under this forest in caves for days until I didn't know what way was left or what way was right. Trust me, everything's going to be just fine unless you die.
I've seen my friend crushed under the collapsing ruin of an ancient Symbaric tomb just to desperately try and save my life. Yeah.
You just stick with old Steo.
Yeah. So, Lariol, let's actually roll resolute on Lariol and see if this causes any kind of future problem. Okay, well, now I know that result. So there we go. Lariol kind of excuses herself from the conversation with you and sort of wanders off a bit and seems to be in deep thought about something. Chris, can you give me a vigilant roll, please? Not modified at all. It's an 8. As the light starts to arrive on the horizon you're on a slight rise from where you are. You can actually fairly see Symbaroum down to the northeast of you. And as the light starts to trip along the canopy of Davokar, you turn around and notice a slender, tall figure stood sort of at the edge of where the light meets the trees. It is the elf Malahai standing watching you.
I suppose I'll approach then. If I'm, I assume is Lariol still kind of is still off in her own world?
Yeah, Lariol is off in her own world, but you'll definitely have to at least a little bit be discreet in talking to this elf if you don't want to be noticed. You're on mute.
Good, that was very discreet of me. I will approach and try and say hi.
Absolutely. Well, she's off in her own world, so I will give you a +3 to the roll. So take a discreet roll. Actually, with her vigilant, it'll be a flat discreet roll then. Good luck. Ooh, that is a 1. So there we go. Yeah, Lariol is lost in her own extremely pessimistic, thoughts
I
of
think
their own demise.
traumatized.
Yeah, traumatized, essentially. Yeah, wondering where the giant spider demons are going to leap out from. Yeah, you walk over to Malahai. He takes a couple of steps towards you in turn and says, "What of the ruin?"
Death and song. Today will be our last attempt, I hope.
What do you intend with what you find? Yourself and the younger one, you hinted at wishing to halt anyone else from finding a path further into the forest. How do you intend to go about this?
I haven't yet. I know so little of what we might expect to find if we get to the underside of Carvosti. But all I can promise you is that my goal is to protect life. And I know that that means, as much as is possible, blocking people from going into that city. If I have to take down a tunnel, I'll take down a tunnel. If I have to, I don't know.
Very well. He reaches down into a small pouch at his side, withdraws something that he holds between his index finger and his thumb, and holds it kind of up to the light slightly, the growing light on the horizon where you see it glinting just softly and slightly, and then holds it out on the palm of his hand to you. It is an iron ring.
Steele will pause for a moment, kind of reflect on, like, we know the rings aren't magical, but this is kind of magic in that it represents the signing of the pact.
That is exactly what it represents, yes. And as he holds it out to you, he says, "This is a responsibility. With this ring, corruption cannot touch you, lest you bring it upon yourself. But if you do bring it upon yourself, it will strike you harder. Do you understand this?"
I do, I think.
It will also allow a certain degree of communication. When you sleep, when you dream, we will talk.
Okay. I think I will take this responsibility. I think our goals are aligned. I'll reach out and take the ring.
Okay, can you give me a vigilant roll at, let's say, +3? That is a 3 and a
3.
success. Yeah. Behind Malahai, as he stands, you can see like the top, like at first trees and then tops of trees. You know, you're on such a slope, as I say, you can see down into the slight valley of Symbaroum. You see a light flare over the top of Symbaroum, distinctly somewhere over the east wing. That's followed a few seconds later by another flare of light that resolves itself into a gust of flame that kind of bursts up into the air and kind of quickly dissipates. It's quite dramatic looking.
Did Malachi react to that at all?
No, he has his back to it.
There was a fire over the palace.
He kind of
Burst of
spins
flame.
round. watches, and as you both watch, another gust of flame, smaller than the first one, kind of flares up. He tilts his head, and those kind of like large pointed ears, to the still air of the valley, turns and says, "The Rangers. I must go. Maintain your own safety. We will speak." And he dashes off into the trees.
I think I'll dash up the hill again and kind of. I assume we're kind of at the break of dawn now, yeah.
Yes.
So I'll definitely kind of. Yeah, I think I'll rouse everyone. There was a flame over the east of the complex. I suspect something happened a few minutes ago that may have involved someone getting there first and not realizing what they were up against.
Like a flaming arrow, or
No, I got a flame, a flash, a burst almost.
Some weapon of the Rangers?
Magic. Ordo Magica.
Mage?
Yeah.
DeGesto is kind of harumphing and finding his way to his feet and says, "We better move then, yes?"
Yeah,
If they found what we're after, we will only have a limited time to waylay them before they make their way out. And you won't be able to follow them.
I don't see that it changes our plans, you're right. And well, unless we want to get there faster, unless we want to skirt around to the north and go straight in there.
I think we need to get there immediately. I don't think it'll take us the whole morning to get through the other way that we don't know.
Okay. South, flooded through the fen, or round into the north. DeGesto's like belting up his robe as he's saying this.
We don't know how deep that swamp is or what the rest of it's like along the south face. We know the north.
We know the north.
We know the north. He reaches down and hefts up his fire tube. One charge left. Let's make it count. He heaves it over his shoulder and starts walking.
Come on, DeGesto, look on the bright side. There's probably just going to be a room full of dead rangers and one singing monstrosity.
Absolutely.
There isn't.
So
there will be what there will be. We just got to go find it.
Absolutely. So we are making our way north along the west wall of Symbaroum and then around the north along to the corner. I will add it to the stream, but there's we're not gonna. Yeah. We're heading to that northeast rather entrance, the collapsed area. Inside, you can see a room. Obviously, the same room you were in before. The dismembered rangers are still there. The Hunger Wolves tore apart. There's a sinkhole with your rope around it that you can make your way around and across into that corridor. So I assume we're immediately going to take a look into that. We're moving towards that south archway in the corridor, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Okay. They're just going to suggest that as the most observant and probably most stealthy of us, Asker, I might like to be the one that goes first for this.
That's fair. We'll gladly go first.
Okay. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I might cast Best Shield and include Askerite in that.
Go for it. Let's see how that works out.
That's a 1. It has no effect.
Other than the effect of Blessing Shield being cast, which is a pretty good one. Mike, I think your mic. That's confusing. Mike, I think you might be on the wrong mic.
I will have a look at that.
What's your mic like, Mike?
It's the wrong mic, Mike. You are approaching. Sorry, I may have given the impression I meant that you were already going through the room. I mean that I just want to establish that's the way you're going. But you're moving up to that northeast corner where things have collapsed. I would like, please, just a flat vigilant roll from everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you get it.
Pass.
That's Elindra and Askarai and Arendar. And that's it, I think. So the three of you, as you're moving towards that northwest corner, you smell something that smells very much like roasted flesh.
In the direction that we're heading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's gone badly for somebody.
You climb up the sort of slight drift of rubble that comes down from that northeast corner. Find yourself in the room. As I say, the old bodies of the Rangers are still there, and there's a sinkhole ahead of you. You can't see anything untoward compared to this room yesterday. So I take it we're striking forward around that sinkhole along the rope. Okay.
Yep.
Askarai, you step into that corridor and immediately see a difference. So sprawled on the floor is the rather large form of a troll. I think we've had descriptions of trolls before, but they're like very large creatures, generally quite brutish and violent, covered in sort of varying colors, but typically grayish, scaly skin, large claws, incredibly kind of hunched muscle forms who tower over the average human and most of the time over the average ogre as well. It's very dead, and a lot of its blood is on the floor.
Does it look at all burnt?
That's a good question. And I'd be delighted to explain some of why I'm referring to things after the session. No, it does not look burnt.
Okay. Askarai's gonna, keep moving forward. If it looks dead, we'll, call back. Dead troll in here.
Sure.
Not on fire, just murdered.
If Antom's, once we're over the sinkhole, if Antom's taken the opportunity to set up a blessed shield, Elindra will set up the Revenant Strike with the sword.
Absolutely.
Which is
you are
just
mute, Theo, by the way. I saw Chris talking.
Well, I just had the sudden realization that my first roll of the day was a failure, so I'm on -1 to all subsequent rolls.
Setting ourselves up for victory here. Okay. As you step away from the sinkhole, because Askarai, I take it you've padded over kind of like more near where the large troll body is now.
Yeah.
It is right next to that southern archway leading further into the ruin. All of you hear distinctly the unmistakable sound of, might not be human, but it seems to be a woman's voice wailing in pain beyond that southern archway.
I'm going to cautiously look through the archway.
Beyond the archway, you see you see a lot of blood splattered over the floor, over the walls, over the rim of the archway itself. You see what is, you think unmistakably, a ranger that has been very much torn to pieces, obliterated. You see kind of not limbs, but bits of limbs. You think on the floor near your feet is what used to be someone's head, half crushed in the grip of perhaps a troll. You also see a little further over to your right. You see the and smell the unmistakable thing of two huge troll bodies. They are covered in wounds. They are also still smoking.
Okay. Is there anything moving? Anything that seems alive in this room?
It's very difficult for you to tell without taking a step in. It's not a large room. You can see from the doorway here that there is an archway out of it to the east. An archway out of it to the west. I'm literally just saying the opposite of things at the moment. So there's an archway out of it to the west, and there are stairs leading down to the east.
Before going in, I'm definitely going to talk to the group and say that there's been a huge fight in here. 2 dead trolls, at least 1, maybe more dead rangers. The fire definitely, I mean, the trolls have been on fire. But whatever we're here for seems this way. The stairs down.
Why does that ring a bell? The door was downstairs, wasn't it? Am I making this up?
Which door?
The mechanism we have to examine.
It sounds familiar to me as well, but I'm not sure.
Under Carvosti?
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going nuts. Maybe now is not the best time to bring it up. But
I don't think we heard anything about the layout of this place. I don't think we know exactly what it is that we're even looking for, let alone where it is. I think we'll just know it when we see it. I suggest we move. Yeah, I suggest we move quickly and quietly.
Why do I always get roped into sneaky shit?
If nothing else, any survivors of this may well be distracted for a while, and of the people and things that did not survive, this is a lot of blood. That smell is going to travel. Half of Davakar is coming.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, the sound of the woman's wail has kind of like died out now, and I take it we're basically kind of like stepping into this room and making our way. Are we intending to turn and go down the stairs, or are we? Which way?
Can we see where that wail was coming from?
You hear that it is coming from ahead of you. If you had to pinpoint it, you'd say it's coming from ahead of you in exactly the same way, the sort of direction the singing seemed to be coming from.
I think we probably wouldn't head straight down the stairs. I think we'd probably look through the archway to the west.
Sure.
And see
just see what you can see. Okay. And are you doing that on your own, Ascarai, or is everyone kind of going in together at this point? The Gesto seems very ready. He's got like the fire tube held. He seems keen.
I think I'm keen to broach into the room, but let Ascarai still go ahead in terms of the next room. But I do want to be in the big room.
Okay. Do we want to put Ascarai on a rope? I do not have a rope, otherwise I would have done it.
There's just been a fight. The last thing I want on one of our most agile team members is something to weigh them down or tie them up.
I mean, without a cunning roll, I will offer the knowledge that clearly trolls were stomping around here and they didn't fall into a sinkhole. So,
okay.
But you can do what you want.
That's right. Say, I'd rather not be tied to anybody.
Don't fall.
I'll do my best.
Okay. So we're all stepping forward together into this room, right? Rather than letting Ascarai scout first. Okay. In that case, please, folks, I'm going to need a roll right off the bat for everyone. And that roll is going to be vigilant, modified by an amount that I will give you right now, which is... it's probably not going to be significant. No. You're all going to need vigilant at +5, please.
Miraculously, I failed that.
Okay.
I also failed that.
I got a 1.
I think I rolled a 20, which is still lower than my vigilant +5, but is also
That's
a 20.
not fail. That's not failing.
Okay.
There's no such thing as auto fail on a 20. Like I think the only thing that's like not a thing on a 20 is that like if you're in combat, they still get like their free attack against you and stuff. But otherwise, it's fine. So hands up, everyone who made that roll, please. Is that everyone but Alindra, basically? Sure. Yeah. All right, then.
I got a 1, just for the record.
Sure. So, John, I'm going to need some initiative, please. and if you can put in an entry for, as you may be able to guess, trolls. In fact, go ahead and put rage trolls, and they are on quick 10 and vigilant 9, so not too fearsome. So you're getting some stuff in first, at least. But yeah, that +5 turns out rage trolls not very good at hiding.
I think if you've got to put like an adjective in front of troll,
yeah,
we're about to have a bad day.
Sure. So this is the situation. Almost the moment you step into the chamber, you see that you see glittering eyes on both sides of you, down the stairs and through that western archway, and the hulking forms of what a quick head count will reveal to be 7 trolls piling towards you. I'm going to do a quick roll to see which side 4 of them are on and which side 3 of them are on, because why not? Actually, will I? No, I won't. 4 of them are scrambling up the stairs with great heaving grunts, and the other 3 are coming through that western archway. A number of them have sort of what looks like fresh scarring on their scaly skin that seems like they were struck recently, but the strikes don't seem to have really done anything. So there we go. Can we have that initiative up, please, John? Okay. I think yeah, but basically they didn't manage to spring a surprise on you and get a round of action themselves, but similarly then like you don't get like a sort of, action on them or whatever first. So there we go. But Ascarai, what are you gonna do? None of them seem wounded or different in any way. It's just 7 trolls, 3 of them coming from the western archway, 4 of them from up the stairs. What are we doing?
Do they look like the sort of trolls with master level acrobatics?
No, they do not. Those sorts
Okay,
of trolls. No,
yeah.
I mean they're very similar to Fundaber's troll, right? That you cut down at his camp at New Earthmore.
Is there any sense of which is closer? Like, are the stairs closer? Is the archway closer? Are they about the same?
I think they're about the same.
Okay, Ascarai's going to shoot.
They're both going to reach you this turn.
Okay, Ascarai's going to shoot at the first one coming through the archway, not the stairs.
Sure.
And can I do Beast Law to get a sense of? Well, can I do Beast Law in general on trolls? Is that maybe true? Well, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. What's your Beast Law?
Ascarai wants to know how thick is troll skin? Is it like good armor? Is it just
what your Beast Law is level 1, like novice, right? Yeah. Give me a cunning test.
Okay. That's a failure.
Then you don't know much about trolls.
Ascarai's going to assume they've got. Yeah, it looks like something's hit them and not done much to them. So he's going to assume that it's pretty thick skin and is going to go for a more precise shot on a weaker point, which is
your single shot. Yeah. Okay. Give me a go then. Their defense is +7, so good luck missing.
It's a hit. Oh, I'll also mark this one as my Hunter's Instinct.
So it's easier to hit. You get a reroll, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, and I also get a D4 extra damage on it.
Nice. Okay, well, you've definitely hit it. So why don't you give us a roll, and it ignores armor, right?
Yeah. Okay. This is literally my.
Chris is there with his Symbaroum core book to help me in this what will be a hectic combat. I'm telling you,
my friend. I am here to help myself.
This is literally my maximum roll. I rolled a 10, a 4, and it's a +1 from my bow, so that's 15 damage.
That's 15 damage. Okay. In a single silken movement, Ascarai draws an arrow, knocks it, and looses it in one fluid movement. None of you see where it hits. All you see is the troll stumbling, crashing, and skidding along the ground, already dead at Ascarai's feet. It's not a barrier because the trolls are huge. Right, so they can scramble over the body of their fellow. They don't even notice it dying though. Like they're just really really focused on coming for you. But that troll just got one shot by Ascarai.
Nice.
I will say precisely one shot as well. There we go. John in private chat saying maybe we messed up less than we thought. Yeah, sure. As long as there's another few Ascarais, you're just fine, right?
I just need to roll maximum damage every round.
Every round. Okay. Are you doing anything with your movement action?
Getting out the way of the doorway so other people can get in past me, but not trying to move far away.
Everyone is in the doorway already. I will say it's going to happen anyway that you're going to have trouble getting a line of sight once people start engaging with each other. If you back out of the doorway, that'll be worse.
I'm not gonna go back into the corridor. I'm gonna move laterally, so I'm not stood in front of the doorway and people are trying to run past me. I just want to move along the wall somewhere so people can get out of the doorway.
Sure. You're still as soon as these trolls starting. Oh no, didn't we have a thing about bigger opponents? And I said that you can fire. Yeah, you can fire at these. They're just don't roll a 20.
Okay.
I think we house ruled that, right?
Yeah.
In the case of larger opponents, you can fire with line of sight, but don't roll 20s. Or
seems fair.
The other week will happen again. Elindra, there's 2 coming from the west and 4 coming up the stairs.
So Elindra is going to, despite their size, try not to get into Ascarai's line of sight. So it's going to go for some of the ones for the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So she will step up to whichever one's going to reach the top of the stairs first, and I guess get a free attack on engagement.
You'll get a free attack with your long. So go ahead and like I say, it's a +7. So I think pretty much everyone here, maybe apart from Tom, is guaranteed to hit.
Yes, that's a hit. Damage now. That's D12 plus D4 plus 1. So.
Oh, for the Revenant Strike.
Yeah. Oh, that is 5.
Okay. Though, can you tell every time you hit them with Revenant Strike? I need to know how much damage you got on the Revenant Strike die as well.
2.
Okay.
I got 2 on both dice.
So, but that was a 5. Did you say? Total.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have the 2-handed force that ignores armor, do you?
No.
No.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Your strike. You kind of step up as these trolls are coming up the stairs and thrust out. You feel your blade mostly just glance off the tough skin of the troll as it comes barreling up for you. But what you do see is along its hide, the purple flame of your Revenant Strike kind of scorches and sears that stone-like skin, and it gives a howl of pain at the flash of burning along its flank. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Can I go for my normal attack now?
Please do.
Lovely. That is not a 20, so that's a hit. Damage this time is, that's more like it, 15.
15.
And that's a 4 on the Revenant Strike dice.
4 on the Revenant Strike. 15 and a 4 on the Revenant Strike. Okay. It's 15 minus, sorry, I'm doing some mental calculation here. So that's minus that. God, I really cannot do mental arithmetic tonight. Yeah, as it kind of howls and fumbles at its face where you've sort of scorched it along its cheek, and as it does so, it kind of just barrels towards you, hoping to trample you into the ground. You step to one side and thrust fully. You're pretty sure your longsword is now coming out of the other flank of the beast. It howls again in even more pain this time, and not just at the flame, at the fact you've impaled the thing, and kind of whips round, and as it does so, kind of pull your sword out and ready yourself again. It is howling and bleeding copiously, but it's definitely still alive.
Damn. Okay.
So, are you doing anything? Oh, your movement action was charging, so no.
Yeah, I stepped in to engage, I think.
Sure. Okay, it's Revelia's turn.
Okay, so Revelia's got a spear, which means that she's going to attack on engagement. Can I have her do something else as an action and then move and get the attack on engagement, but not her like normal attack?
Yes, correct.
Fantastic.
Welcome to Steo's world.
So, for her not combat action, I'm wondering if she can make a beast law roll and try to understand something about.
Please do.
Fantastic. What is it? A cunning?
Yeah.
She rolled a 20. We're
Sure.
going to put it mildly not successful. Okay. So she's going to step into, I guess, this injured troll, because it's always good to try and finish things off.
Yeah.
And is going to roll.
Attack at +7, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if she's rolling. I guess she's not rolling
accurate, probably.
Yeah.
To have strong, you've got to have what's it? Well, you've got it, right?
Yeah.
So what is it?
It's Iron Fist. She doesn't have that. Yeah. So she's just rolling accurate. She totally needs to get Iron Fist. Okay, so that's going to do D8 plus 1. 4 in total.
Okay. Revelia steps in to engage it, and this is the long attack, right?
Yeah, this is just what she gets for engaging. Yeah.
You kind of see her step in behind you, and she gives a fairly powerful thrust, but the tip of the spear just clatters off against the creature's hide, unfortunately. So it is still alive and engaged with both of you. So let me just actually note that, because I didn't. What's Farron doing, Arendar?
I think. I think Farron, as a wee beast, might be slightly cowed by these giant trolls, and I think we'll probably defer his action until at least after me, and maybe just hide behind me. To be honest, but
sure, absolutely. Okay, well, it's your action then. So what are you doing?
I'm going to step up alongside Alindra and try and take out this injured troll, I think.
Take out this lead troll, sure. Okay, an attack at +7, please. Do remember, folks, that do note when you do have 20s, because even though it's still a hit, they're going to get a free attack against you afterwards. So, assuming they survive.
It is a success with 1 damage.
Well, then was it a success, is what I ask you. Yeah, your rapier does kind of... Do we say is it a rapier or a saber? Yours is a rapier, right?
It's a rapier.
Yeah. Yeah. A rapier is not an ideal weapon unless you can pinpoint a vulnerable area on these big stony beasts. And yeah, it just kind of clatters against the troll's flesh and does nothing. So with that in mind, it's the Fortune Hunter's turn. And I'm going to roll. Because Jorigoy's pretty nervous about all this, I was going to roll resolve for him to see if he just runs at the sight of anything truly terrifying. And I wasn't going to do the same for Leriol, but now I am because of Steo's pep talk. So with that in mind, let's see how they both do.
I'm very good.
Very good. So Jorigoy is sticking around. Leriol, the one we like. Oh my god. Leriol and Jorigoy are going to basically they're going straight into fight or flight, and somehow they've both landed on fight. They're both gonna howl with kind of violent impulses, and they're going to charge. And let's see where they charge. They are going to charge at the one of the other trolls coming in from the west, right? Who would like to make some rolls for Leriol and Jarigoi? Someone without a companion. No, you've got Ferrin. Don't be greedy.
I feel like I should take responsibility for...
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So they have what do they use as their stats? Let me just have a quick look. That's not there. Why are you looking there, Matt? You're an idiot. I thought that I think they just use accurate. Yeah, they just use accurate. So can you give me a roll, please? And you're looking for an 18. Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't even on mute there. I rolled a 7, which is less than 18.
Nice. And now can you give me a D8 roll for damage, please?
Apparently that's a 9 because I rolled a D10. 7.
Okay, and then can you do the same thing over again, please? Roll a D20, looking for an 18, and then roll a D8.
Hits on a 4 and a 6.
Okay, so what was that altogether? Sorry, not altogether, but 6 what was the first one?
Plus 7 is
7
12.
and 6. That's fine. So the 7,
13.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a total. Again,
okay.
So that's that. Leriol and Jorigoi swarm, such as they are, one of the trolls and just start battering into its flank with their large spiked clubs. The troll kind of like wheels around and flails with its clawed paws and hasn't got its hands on them yet. But then they haven't taken an action yet, so you know. But you know what? You see several bleeding gashes open up on the troll's flank. So there we go. Steo, friend, your turn.
I am going to... No matter what I do, I can push one out of combat. Its turn is next. It'll re-enter combat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too much use in this situation. But I do basically get 2 D10 rolls for damage, which is probably enough to cause some fracas. I think, inspired by Leriol and Jorigoi, I am going to make to engage with the one they're working on, actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So first off, you get your long attack.
Okay, I'm not going to proc master because
you're not going to push it away. You want to engage it and get your other attack. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's a success given their
it's a plus 7. So yeah.
And D10 plus 1, 4. That's useless. So my then formal attack on the same one. Yeah. Is again, that's fine. That was a 3. 3 damage.
Okay, yeah. The bronze tip of your spear slams against the creature's hide twice in rapid succession, 2 quick thrusts, which both make you realize that you better start thrusting harder and slower because absolutely nothing. Are you going to push it out of combat, though?
There's no point. Because it'll just... Oh, no, there is point. Yes, I will.
I will come back in.
Disengage. It'll have to come back in.
Your quick thrusts are kind of against its face, and it kind of like reels back and staggers back a bit. I suppose, technically speaking, does that mean that the 2 fortune hunters get a free attack?
It's disengaging from me. I'm in combat with them.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say it doesn't, because I don't think it does. I think that would be ridiculously OP. So I think not. No.
I suspect the attack of opportunity thing was intended for somebody deliberately breaking off from combat rather than being yeeted out of it.
Yeah, correct.
It sounds like speedrun strats, which probably means it's not the intended operation.
It's not the intended use. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, we're on to the Rage Troll's turn, folks. Are we excited by that? So the first thing that happens is that everyone who's close up to a rage troll sees the bleeding wounds that have been thrust into their bodies are starting to knit and heal over as their stony skin patches itself across their hulking, muscled forms. Notable exception, Alindra. Anywhere the flames went is not healing.
Okay.
Which I probably should have made you roll a cunning roll to spot, but I'm kind. Also, I forgot. So there we go. Right, time for them to attack. So there's 2 of them that are engaged, and there's 4 of them that are not. And I'm going to get a bit random with how they attack. So the first one, let's go for. Well, this one has to re-engage, so that's something. And it is enraged enough with Steo that it's going to re-engage the group as a whole. So go ahead, Steo. Let's start with your attack against this now mostly intact troll.
Boo. Well, that is a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 11 damage.
That's much better.
And given I was engaged, my friend is now back out of combat with me.
Absolutely. But not, as we discussed, out of combat with Leriol and Jorigoi. So, it kind of tries to dive back in on you and takes a thrust of your spear under its ribs, which does manage to puncture quite deep inside its form. And in its impotent rage at being driven back from you again, it's going to lash out at Jorigoi. Jorigoi the scared boy. Okay, so I'll get you to roll for him as well, please, Steo. So if you can roll a defense roll against him, which is hang on, let me
This is not going to be pretty, friends.
thing again. They are accurate. That's interesting. So if you could roll, so his defense is a +1. That means his defense is an 11. Oh no, is a 9? Yeah, his defense is a 9. Must be. Yes. So if you could roll, you're looking for 6 or under, Chris.
Yes!
Oh my god!
Lives. It's a 3.
Yeah, perhaps in its rage at your spear driving it back, Steo, it kind of flails out with its clawed paws, and Jorigoi literally just ducks each one, kind of with a very desperate look of colossal adrenaline on his face. Then what we're going to do is we're going to, I think, with the next one, I think the troll is going to go for the thing that hurt it, and Revelia and Arendar did not hurt it. So I think that the troll is going to swipe for you, Alindra. Could you give me a defense at -3, please?
Sure. Give me a second. So I need a 10. I roll an 8. And while we're doing that, let's bring in the 2-handed finesse, which is after a successful defense per turn. It's a contested strong test to see if I can push it back.
Sure.
So it's my strong modified by its strong, which I imagine is horrific.
Its strong is pretty bad. Let me check it. So roll strong at -5.
Okay. Need a 10. I get a 14, so that doesn't work. But,
okay.
Hey, I defended.
But yeah, you managed to. Well, how do you think you avoid the swipe from the troll?
I think, possibly just a kind of a swift sort of sidestep and,
bit of nifty footwork.
Yeah, I think for all Alindra's pretty big, she's not slow. She's pretty surprisingly nimble on her feet. So I think it's just footwork and technique.
Footwork and technique. Yeah, I think that's fair. So what I'm going to say here is I think that the trolls have a tendency to swarm people. And I think that because it said so in the description of them. They want to, hunt as a pack, these rage trolls, right? So they want to bring the targets of their fellows down. So how I'm going to pick what the next 4 trolls are going to go is I'm going to roll a d6, and 1 or 2 they're going to join Steo's combat. 3 or 4 they're going to join Elindra's combat, and 5 or 6 they're going to go for someone else, and they'll just randomly generate that. Okay. So with that in mind, the first one is going for Elindra's combat. But I guess I got to roll who they technically engage, because if it's engaging the full combat, I don't want to get into the precision of it. So will Elindra just take your long attack?
Oh, okay. For sure.
They're just engaging the group.
Long this turn though.
Oh, do you only get one per? You only get one per round, right?
Did you upgrade to the middle level one? Because if you still only have the apprentice level, then it's once per combat, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no, you're right. It's once. I have not yet saved up for that.
Is that once per combat or once per round?
Once per round.
Once per round.
I think, yes. I think that's what we settled on as a house rule. The rules are a bit ambiguous.
Sure, absolutely. I'm also going to roll randomly who the troll hits. The troll is going to strike at Arindar. So, could you roll a defense at -3, please, Arindar?
No, because I'm going to roll against Quick first.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That is a definite success.
Hey, you're pulling a reverse Ascarai. I like it.
The reverse Ascarai.
So now the troll is hitting the other troll, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that is already injured.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm going to roll to hit then. So the troll hits that against the... Oh, it's a guaranteed to have a hit. But this is interesting. What if it rolls a 20? I think if it rolls a 20, the other troll tries to hit it back.
Yes.
Didn't roll a 20. That would have been fun, though, huh?
Sad.
So I'm not going to bother with rolls and stuff. I'll just balance their damage against their their hit sort of thing. And essentially, this troll kind of like barrels forward towards you. Describe for me how you get out of the way with your master acrobatics.
I think I just like slide between its legs.
You slide between its legs, and it kind of tries to get you as it swings around and sort of swings down with a punch and staggers around as it does so. And the punch just literally slams into the other troll's hip, and you hear a huge crack. And the other troll sort of like gives out a bellowing wail and half gives, and is kind of like limping around, flailing its limbs. It's still alive, but you're pretty sure one of the trolls just punched another troll's hip out. So that's an exciting thing that just happened. All right, that's one of the trolls charging in. Let's do the same for the other one. Okay, this one is going to charge into Steo's group. Steo, I assume you want to use long to try and push it back?
Am I being engaged?
Yeah, you are.
Yep. So I roll to hit. I succeed at hitting, which means it is out of combat, and it would take damage if the damage was a number greater than 4, which it wasn't.
Sure. So it's basically knocked out of combat and is staggering back away from you, looking somewhat confused. Okay, the next one is going to go for someone else. Now, the people who are not engaged at this point, I think Farron's out of their notice. But basically, we're talking Ascarai and Tom DeGesto, right? That's who we're talking here. So, with that in mind, it's only Father Anton, isn't it? One of these trolls is going to come, kind of stumbles forward, looks around, sees the kind of, and at this point, the room is pretty crowded, right? The kind of stumbling mass as it comes up the stairs around where Aaron has slid through the legs, and 2 of the trolls are like falling over each other, and it just pushes past that combat, kind of elbows everything out of the way. It's looking at the glittering sparks of Prios's light around you with a look on its face like an extremely violent and fascinated toddler. And it's going to come swiping for you. Could you give me a defense roll, please, at -3? As for the third time tonight, the top falls off my pen. I will just put it to one side. You're on mute, Mike. Also, someone's got a lot of background hiss. Oh, I think that's your mic, Mike. You might want to restart something or like reset your mic.
Yeah.
You are not muted on the program, but we
Right.
cannot hear you speak.
You're not on mute, Mike.
I mean, you are now because you've pressed mute.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
How about now?
Yay!
Yay!
There we go. There
Okay,
we go.
great. Right, I rolled a 20. I might spend an XP on that because I think
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah,
I think
I think that's
I would
reasonable.
feel quite a lot of pain if I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't make it anyway. Rolled an 18.
Okay,
but
but
it's
not
not
a 20 anyway.
Yeah.
So that's positive. Okay, can you give me an armor roll, please, Father Anton? Don't forget your blessed shield.
That's a 10.
Nice. The rage troll's claws come raking through the air over your head, and you feel the kind. You can smell the foul stench coming off the creature's claws and feel the air of it swiping in front of you. But it gives out a pained howl as its paw comes into contact with the raging heat of Prios' blessed shield, and it rears back, frustrated and enraged that it didn't manage to make contact with you. That's a plus, huh? So with that in mind, final troll, guys. So no one's taken any damage yet. That's insane. This is going to be the Hunger Wolves all over again. You're just going to massacre the entire group.
I suspect if one of them does hit us, it's going to be a very different story. But
I'd say so. So the last one is going to also pile into the fight with Elindra, Revelia, and Arindar. So I'd say that's kind of like the primary fight at this point. Like that's where everything's sort of kicking off, as it were. And it's going to try and attack Arindar. But Arindar can't do that trick again.
No, I can't.
Not this round. So, defense roll at -3, please, Arindar.
That's a 20, so I'm going to re-roll it.
Fair.
That's an 8, which is a pass.
Okay. And you get a response?
I do. That's it's which is definitely a hit. And how many trolls versus us? Is there 2 trolls in this combat? No, 3.
Oh, you're definitely none of you are flanking in this.
Yeah, no. I rolled 11 anyway.
Well, you might be, but this group is not. This group has 4 trolls against 3 people.
Yeah,
I think.
I rolled
3
11.
trolls. You got 11 damage.
Yep.
Okay, so that is that much. I'm really struggling with the rolled mental arithmetic here, folks. The troll comes for you. It swipes miss. You manage to kind of do a little duck and thrust and feel your rapier go through the sort of weaker scales under the creature's armpit. You kind of feel the freedom of the tip of your rapier moving out of the back of its shoulder, and then whip it back to adopt your defensive stance once more. That's the rage trolls, folks. That's pretty good stuff, right? Pretty good stuff. So, with that in mind, Let's have Father Antom's turn. I mean, you're engaged with a troll, so.
And hey, if you thought the rage trolls were ineffective, now you're really going to see something. I will
watch this.
I will flail.
There we go. +7 on that.
Yeah, I make it. So I think it's
damage, please.
I have to look up what dice to use for this every time because I just so rarely.
Because you never hit. Well, yeah, you barely roll a damage die, so you know.
Yeah. That is 6.
That's 6. Okay. Yeah. The metal balls at the end of your flail slam into the creature's flesh, and like obviously they don't kind of penetrate it. But you do feel a kind of crunch and see like, you know, just as you would on another creature, see like the bruising and cracking starting to swell across the flesh of the creature as your flail makes contact. It doesn't seem overly perturbed, but you're hitting it. So there we go. Are you doing anything with your movement action?
I want to keep Askarai in sight so that he gets the benefit of Blessed Shield. But
I'd say you're the closest to each other, I'd say.
Yeah. And I'm not going to put myself in a vulnerable position for that. Sorry, Askarai.
That's fair.
Okay. And now, friends, we have DeGesto's turn. And here's the question for you. How much will DeGesto care about area of effect? Let me just double read the area of effect thing. So one test is made for each creature in the area. Those who are hit suffer full damage, while those who pass the defense test suffer half damage. Ongoing secondary effects only affect those who suffer full damage from the initial effect. Yeah.
I feel like if DeGesto was in the habit of setting off explosives in small, very full rooms, like he probably wouldn't have lived as long as he has.
Yeah, I think so. Or at least like, because he does have options here, I think. He's got options with how I've got it mentally in my head.
I can imagine him weighing it up, but I don't know.
So here's the situation, right? There are 3 trolls fighting Elindra's group, right? And like, if he didn't give a shit about hitting his allies, that would definitely be where he'd aim the fire tube, right? Because that's the most trolls. Trolls don't like fire. It's a pretty good deal, right? A pretty good trade. However, the 3 of you are there. Firing at Steo's group would only hit 1 troll and would hit 3 humans. From the way I've described it, Steo's group is off to one side near the western side. Elindra's group is at the top of the stairs. In between is DeGesto, Askarai, Antom, and 2 trolls. 1 fighting Antom and 1 unengaged. I reckon, and this is just my mental thing, he can fire that fire tube at those 2 trolls and Antom. I also think DeGesto thinks that a man of Prios will be protected from fire. He's seen the Blessed Shield before. He knows it can ward off these things. And in his head, I think it's reasonable that he might be like, fire won't hurt the priest while he's blessed by Prios. So I think he's going to fire the fire tube at those 2 trolls and Anton. It's not actually... It's very unlikely to be really bad.
Finally, we are rid of that turbulent priest.
So, 1 test is made for each creature in the area. Those who are hit suffer full damage, while those who pass the defense test suffer half damage. Let me just double check DeGesto's stats here. I think I've got them here. Yeah, that's fine. So let's start with Antom, right? Antom, can you make a defense roll, please, at -3?
Oh, God. I got 2. I make it.
DeGesto was right. Frios reaches down. All you see, Anton, because you're kind of like hitting, you catch a glimpse near the doorway of DeGesto quite calmly, like he's got like a sort of sparking and smoking string of material gripped in his mouth, and he just looks back, pulls back something on the fire tube, takes it out, takes aim, and gives a shout of something you can't hear in all the chaos and conflict, and flame roars towards you, washing around the trolls ahead of you, and just on either, you feel a very intense heat kind of like washing on either side of you. Part of the flames do scorch over you, which means I do need an armor roll, but the majority of them do not. It's certainly maybe not that intimidating to a man who has intentionally stepped into a bonfire. What did your armor roll come up with?
Just 2.
Okay. You feel part of the flames kind of scorch over your face. Like it feels like an instantly very bad sunburn. Take 1 toughness. And also, if you make the defense roll, you don't have the burn effect. Which is pretty good. So now, who wants to roll for DeGesto? I think Anton needs to roll for DeGesto hitting the 2 trolls, right?
Sure.
So his accuracy is... Oh, well, is it even necessary, actually? Because they're at +7, and 20s won't do anything because it's ranged. So...
But it's me. Yeah. I could roll a 21.
Yeah. It's possible.
The two trolls are hit. But what you can do for me is... so that does that much damage. So these 2 trolls are instantly knocked down to that and down to that. But also they have a burn on each of them, Mike. So could you do me a favor and roll, please? Come on, where is it? Come on, flame. There we go. It's D4 for D4. Okay. Can you give me a roll of 2 D4s, please?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. So that's B2. And can you also give me another 2 D4s roll, please?
That's 4 and 4.
4 and 4 is good. Okay. So, should I have done that? Hang on. Sorry, folks. The fire tube is quite a complicated weapon. Yeah, that'll be the turn after the initial hit, so I shouldn't have done that yet. So I'll do that and do that. Okay. All right. Yeah, the trolls are on fire. And let me tell you, they are not enjoying it. Not enjoying it in the slightest. So there we go. Right. Now, something else happens at this point in the combat. Beyond the western archway, you can see a tumble-down room. Okay? And beyond the tumble-down room, you can see, he said, needing to get the map up, you can see kind of another archway, beyond which you can see what looks like a kind of paved floor that is cracking apart with vegetation growing through it. A lot of that vegetation seems to be oddly scarred and thorny. A corrupt growth that's kind of erupting in the center of this ruin. And in that archway steps another creature. I say another creature because it definitely looks like a troll. but and that's not what I intended to do, but no troll that any of you have ever seen the like of before. And I will share this image with you now. That is what the troll looks like. And it has, these trolls fighting you are probably like 8 feet or so tall. This troll, probably about at least 10 feet tall. Wider, thicker, more muscled, clad in a bedraggled robe with odd tassels and chains linked to it that drapes on the floor behind it. It's carrying that sort of large, tangled staff in one hand and has 2 curled horns protruding from the side of its head, long, lank hair dangling down. It's both oddly more human-like than any troll you've seen before and even more monstrous. In its other hand, which you can't see in this image, it hefts up the kind of only slightly moving body of a blonde woman in her 30s or so, wearing an Ordo Magica robe. She's kind of dangling, and one hand is kind of like lifting ever so slightly in a vague motion of life. He takes a good solid stare at the combat erupting in this room, and almost as an afterthought, reaches his head down and bites straight into the woman's shoulder, his mouth and fangs encompassing the entire kind of upper right-hand corner of her. She lets out a sound that none of you will ever forget, kind of gulping, desperate, hoarse exclamation. And then his fangs crunch together. One upwards pointing tusk tears part of her jaw free. There are 2 thick, fountainous gushes of blood that burst into the air in front of the troll and splatter on the ground in front of it. The woman wriggles uncomfortably, visibly for a few seconds, and then goes still as parts of her body tumble off her form and splat onto the ground below. The troll stares at all of you, drops the body to one side almost as an afterthought, lifts its head to the growing light of the sky, and a soft, deep ululation comes from its throat. An echoing drone that rattles around you lifts up over the head of Farah Maroon. The trolls start breathing heavily and giving great, almost kind of very animalistic grunts, as if some force is working through them. And you see them all, the wounds on their bodies start to knit together even faster. And I think we'll end the session there, mid-combat. But we'll have a little lovely thing. Ascarai, can you roll cunning, please?
Yep, just flat cunning.
Just flat cunning will do me.
Need a 10. I rolled a 5, so I make it.
Okay. Those of you close enough to Ascarai can hear him gasp 2 words quietly to himself in a voice of horror. Those words are liege troll. So, there we go. End of the session. Lovely stuff. If you've got any comments or questions you want us to talk about, please pop them into the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to do some promo and then we'll get round to them. If you check down below, there's a bunch of lovely links, links to Twitch and to YouTube. You watch this on one, please do check out the other. Twitch is where you can catch us live, and YouTube is where you can catch all of our streams in retrospect. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's also links to our Discord, our Patreon, our social media. Get involved with those. We would love that. we are running 3 weekly campaigns at the moment. Mondays is Vason. That's Victorian investigatory folk horror with Johnny and the gang. Wednesdays is Symbaroum. That's this. You just watched it. I don't need to describe it. And Thursdays, starting tomorrow, is going to be the return of the Cincinnati Chronicles. That's our World of Darkness crossover event. We've already had 5 arcs of it. This is the 6th and final arc. I would say, if you haven't watched it so far, and this is, this is honest when a streamer is saying this, maybe don't bother, because you will be completely lost. However, all that means is go to YouTube, start at the beginning, and by the time you got to the end, probably the 6th arc will be on YouTube, so you can catch it that way. Look, I've thought of everything. How wonderful. We also do 1 or 2 one-shots a month using different systems, different stories. The most recent of those is Mask Witches of Forgotten Doggerland, which will end up on YouTube sometime soon. And we have 3 in the diary actually planned coming up on the 25th of June. We'll be playing Land of Eam, which is a lovely, wholesome, whimsical fantasy thing from Exalted Funeral. And then next month, Motorbike Month, as I'm calling it, on the 2nd of July, we've got Johnny's Bat Out of Hell one-shot. Confused? So am I, and I'm in it. And then on the 15th of July, yes, I will be running Hell Knight, which is a Doom Biker TTRPG of kind of retro 80s hyper-violent madness that you better believe I'm running as a Mandy TTRPG. So there we go. Lovely stuff. John, throw it all on the screen. Include anyone going, oh my God, that bit was disgusting, Matt. Because I live for that shit. Sam, I have a question. What are the strengths and weaknesses of a liege troll? Well, you're allowed that with your cunning roll, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, the main thing is they don't like fire and they regenerate. Okay. So, they command other beasts.
Yeah.
And call them to them.
Seems bad.
Ultimately, like, I think Askarai can safely look at this thing and go, this is what's doing this. This is what the elves warred against. This is what's called these trolls and everything else here. This is the problem. Probably the thing that Elmendra awoke. Liege trolls are feared monstrosities.
It's a big problem.
It's a big problem. They are, not only are they physically fearsome, they're also very intelligent. So, yeah. You've heard of them and never encountered one. You know you've never encountered one because you're still alive.
So that doesn't bode well for what I
there we go.
Session.
There we go. Next, please, John. Stephen, did we ever get a description from Elmendra? Blonde mid-30s, auto robes, asking for a friend. No, you did not. You did not.
Well, it's nice to finally meet her, isn't it?
I think we're.
Does everyone think? Do other people think that's Elmendra?
We were pretty sure she. Well, I have no reason to believe she was Ordo, but I'm guessing that the Rangers probably brought a mage with them if they thought they might be coming in to deal with trolls.
She enlisted the help of a former Ordo mage on her who got lobbed off the cliff, right? On her travels. Maybe she wouldn't have needed that if she was an Ordo mage, but who knows?
I feel like somebody would have mentioned. We've met enough people who have met her that somebody would have mentioned she's a mage if she was probably.
It's more just, the way that things have been going for Armaroon. I could absolutely believe that this is what the game's going to throw at us. Like, you found a Mudra, surprise!
Next, Steve. See, you weren't here for this, Mike. But this was you just. If you hadn't guessed, Arindar, when you gave that completely powerless treasure to Anton, I rolled a 20 on his cunning roll to evaluate it. So immediately he got all like he immediately turned into Benny from The Mummy, right? Just like, this thing is cursed. Yeah. Anton points to the sword. Dread. I believe the follow-up comment was Anton points to the tree. Dread. Yeah.
Let's see for that one.
Sam Fire Maroon is Symbaric for friendly fire. Nice.
This was posted at the beginning of the session, It's still a valid question, I guess.
42. The
Yeah.
question is, will they actually ignore the singing monster? Well, you can't now.
I mean,
Now
we
the
could.
question is, should we have ignored the singing monster?
Yeah.
The answer is probably yes.
Don't kick food. Wow, Elindra's sword has a lot more story than Steo's spear. Huh?
I'm mad about it.
I'm not even going to be baited. I'm not even going to be baited.
Loving your comments. Keep them coming.
Currently, the spear definitely has more story because it has a story and Elindra's sword doesn't. I mean, I know what's happening.
It has a
I
story.
do.
We just don't know it yet.
I know what it is. No one else does. And I'll take it to the grave next. Don't kick food. That is some amazing I want to kill Mike rationalization. Hey, I've known Mike for a long time. It's nothing he hasn't heard before.
Right. Also, should that be I want to kill Anton? Right? Right?
Sure, pal.
I was definitely thinking, like, this is some hazelnut yogurt revenge that's been brewing for a long
Fuck
time.
the hazelnut yogurt. This is some fucking buffet revenge.
Buffet the Anton Slayer.
Oh my God, Stephen. Steve, potato. Mike and Anton and Mike, they're both sides of the same coin. Like, you know, Batman and the Joker are destined to fight forever. Mike and Anton are destined to roll 20s forever.
I do wonder if we ever move into another setting. I can't remember how good your rolls were in Coriolis, but I feel
think
if
they
we
were
move into
fine.
another setting.
I think they were fine. It's Anton.
It is just Anton.
It's just Anton.
I did roll a 20 today. But I also rolled a 1. And I did roll some bloody good armor rolls against that
You
troll.
rolled 2 20s today.
Yeah.
Just one of
Well,
them
Anton
wasn't you.
rolled
It
20s.
was
Oh, yeah.
Anton rolled 2 20s today.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There were a lot of 20s today. Yeah. Next, got anything else?
This one might end up being nerd bait and may also betray my lack of understanding of the source material. But
John, does the Lord refer to the Lord of that one ring, or does it mean the ring is a Lord of... Do you mean the actual Lord of the Rings?
yes,
The Lord of the Rings is Sauron. Right. He's the Lord of the
I was
Rings.
never
He
sure
commands
whether
the
it was that
rings.
Sauron is the Lord of that one ring,
Sauron
or
is the
the
Lord of
ring
the
is
Rings.
supposed to be the Lord of all of the magic.
I
ring.
don't think it's ever expressly said in the books, but it certainly is expressly said in the films. In a line from Gandalf, there is only one Lord of the Rings, and he does not share power, which he says to Saruman.
I think that was in the book as well.
It may be in the book as well.
In the book, somebody calls Frodo the Lord of the Rings, and Gandalf quite swiftly corrects them.
That's fair enough. I do not remember it, but I do not doubt you.
Because I was going to say, if it is the bearer of the ring, then surely there are multiple. But
No, the Lord of the Rings, because he commands the ring. In the darkness, bind them. Right. That the point of the rings is that he commands everyone who has a ring who is not of sufficient
But Matt,
will
a ring doesn't
to
have a
resist him.
point.
What?
It's round.
It's
I mean,
round.
it does if
doesn't
it's got
have a
like
point.
something on it.
Do you see what I have to work with out there? First, it's one of them going, but who is the Lord of the Rings? And then it's someone else going, the ring doesn't have a point to it. What is this? I feel like I'm at...
Purgatory, I think.
I was going to say kindergarten, but yeah, same thing. It's fine. I love these people. Mostly. And by mostly, I mean I love John, Chris, Sam, and Stephen. So let's put a line under this session. I love Mike. Come on. So thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to everyone for playing. Join us next week where we'll be lacking a Chris, unfortunately. But I believe we're still going ahead with everyone else. Tomorrow we're going to be starting that final arc of Cincinnati Chronicles. Come join us. Even if it goes well, it's going to be a mess because of what I'm doing with it. I suspect people who watched the first few arcs will have their suspicions about what we're doing with it. You're right. And that means it's going to be a mess, no matter how well we do it. So come and watch that glorious mess, except maybe if you didn't watch the first ones and just start watching them. You've heard me do it.
Just come, because at some
just come
point you're
anyway.
going to see a combat with all of the World of Darkness in it, and it's going to remind you about how this is a shared game world.
How this
but
is a
not
bad
shared
idea.
system.
How that's a very bad idea. But there we go. We'll find out. Until then, take care and stay safe, folks. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.